So we're still working in section 6.2, factoring trinomials. The first ones that we did, the lead coefficient was 1, and we didn't have any greatest common factors. When you look at this next group, you're going to see that we have a greatest common factor in each one of these, and our first task is going to be to get that greatest common factor out. So on this first example, I hope you see that the GCF is 3. Oh, first, is it in the correct order? Yep, I always check that. Second degree term leads, first degree term in the middle, constant on the end. So we always want to make sure the order is correct. So for a GCF, I want to pull that out in front, open up the parentheses, and then remember how we did that. We take each term and we divide it by the greatest common factor. And I'm hoping by now you're comfortable with that. Oops, it's not 65. Positive 63 divided by 3 looks like positive 21. All right, so we've got the greatest common factor pulled out, and this takes us back to where we were. Now we have a lead coefficient of 1 on the inside of the parentheses, and that's good. So we can go over to the side, create our little table. And at the top of that little table, we're going to put positive 21. And we just remembered from the previous video that if that number is positive, it means both signs must be the same. So they're either going to be both positive or both negative. So let's start looking at all the ways that we can break down and factor 21. And that 3 and 7 looks like a good combination. If I make them both positive, that multiplies to give me positive 21, and it also adds to give me this positive 10 in the middle here that I'm looking for. So now we open up our double parentheses and put x in each set of parentheses and a positive 3 in one position and a positive 7 in the other position. So that's our first example that had a GCF. This second example, I'm going to take out a negative 2. Remember we talked in one of our earlier videos that if the lead term is negative, it's always a good idea to go ahead and factor out a negative value. So I'm going to go ahead and factor out a negative 2 here. I'm going to do this step in my head. I'm not going to write it down anymore. This is going to give me, well, maybe I should write this down. Let's try. This is a negative 2x squared divided by a negative 2, which is going to give me this positive on the x squared. So that you're clear on those signs. The positive 8x divided by the negative 2 GCF. And the positive 24 divided by the negative 2 GCF is negative 12. So I've successfully factored out the GCF. I'm back to that position now where I have a lead coefficient of 1. So I'm going to go over to the side here, put at the top of my chart negative 12. So you see now I'm working on what's inside the parentheses. That negative on that 12 tells me that the two signs are going to be different. All right, so I'm thinking of all my combinations. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4 are the combinations that multiply to give me 12. Negative 12, one side's got to be positive, one side's got to be negative. I'm looking for a combination that will generate this negative 4 here in the center. So that 2 and 6 looks pretty good to me. And I think I'm going to need to put the negative on the 6 and the positive on the 2 so that it still multiplies to give me negative 12, but also adds up to give me negative 4. So now you're ready to go to your double parentheses. Split up the x and put a positive 2 in one set of parentheses and a negative 6 in the other. All right, I'm going to quickly do one more. This one I chose to work for you because it's got variables in each of the three terms. So for this one, when you look for the GCF here, it's not only a numeric value, it's also, remember on the variables, we go for the lowest exponent for the variables in common. So the GCF here is 3x. So let me pull that out in front, open up my parentheses, and then quickly run off here to the side and divide each term by this GCF 3x. And what is that going to be? 42? I believe that's right. Notice that the x's out here completely canceled out. Okay, so now I've got that lead coefficient of 1, which is good. I'm going to go off here to the side and create my quick little chart. You may be able to do this. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. Create my quick little chart, and at the top of this chart is the negative 42. So 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, 4 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work, 6 and 7. So you got a lot of combinations there that you need to take a look at. And again, this negative means that the two signs are going to be different. And which combination is the right combination here? Looks like this 6 and 7, because I'm trying to hit that 1 in the middle term there, and since the two signs have to be different, let me decide how I want the signs. I want the negative on the 6 and the positive on the 7, so that they add up to give me a positive 1. So I'm almost done. Double parentheses, x in the first, x in the second, minus 6 in one, and plus 7 in the other. I hope that helps you to work when you have a GCF in a trinomial.